The Odyssey is the newest movie directed by the great Christopher Nolan, and this one based off of Homer's ancient Greek poem, The Odyssey. For those of you not familiar with The Odyssey, let me give you a brief rundown. This story follows Odysseus. He is the king of Ithaca. He is called to fight in the Trojan War. And The Odyssey essentially tells the story of what is a 20-year journey for Odysseus. 10 years fighting the Trojan War, and his 10-year journey to try to get back home. And on his journey home, he encounters many different things: monsters, witches, uncontrollable severe weather, and so many other different kinds of obstacles the gods put in his way. During which that time, back in Ithaca, his wife Penelope and his son Telemachus are holding on to any ounce of hope that Odysseus may still be out there and he's gonna come back, all while dealing with a bunch of men, these suitors who have invaded their home with the hopes of marrying Penelope and becoming the new king of Ithaca. This has been one of my most anticipated movies since it was announced. I am a massive Christopher Nolan fan. I think he is probably the best director in the game today. One of, for sure. Anything he makes, whenever I hear he's directing a new movie, instantly that is among my most anticipated movies of that year. Doesn't matter what it's about, that's all I need. But then when I heard his next movie was gonna be The Odyssey, my excitement only got bigger because, funny enough, for me, when it comes to movies that are based off of literary work, usually I go into the movie unfamiliar because I'm admittedly not a very avid reader, so usually I just go into those movies expecting not much, not really hoping for it to tie into, the book because I'm not familiar with it. The Odyssey was different though. My freshman year of high school, in my honors English class, we spent an entire semester reading the Odyssey, studying the Odyssey, just everything was about the Odyssey. So this is a story that got very burned into my brain, but I always had such a fascination with the Odyssey. I think it's an incredible story. I loved the Greek mythology that ties into it, and it just always, it felt exciting. So yeah, you merge that with Christopher Nolan, there's no way I couldn't be looking forward to this movie. And I imagine a lot of people had been for a long time, but this movie was not without some controversies leading up to it. A lot of people out there, even myself included, weren't very enthusiastic about some of the casting choices they made for certain characters. Also, when one of the trailers dropped and you heard how the movie's dialogue was going to be, it didn't sound very ancient or proper. It felt very modernized, if you will, so that took some people, aback a little bit. However, I was not about to jump ship. I was not about to boycott this movie. I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. If anyone in this world deserves the benefit of the doubt when it comes to movies, it is him. And having finally seen The Odyssey, I'm here to tell you guys right now, if you're still gonna let those things stop you from seeing this movie, especially in theaters, you're doing yourself a massive disservice. This movie is absolutely spectacular. After watching The Odyssey, directed by Christopher Nolan, I don't think there's anyone else in this world that could have pulled this story off the way that he did. Wow, I cannot get over how great this movie is. I saw this movie opening night. It's been, granted, almost a week since I've seen it. I really just want it to sit in with me and just think to myself, am I overreacting? I'm not. I absolutely loved this movie. Let's start off with the casting. Start with Matt Damon as Odysseus. A lot of people weren't really convinced maybe he was the right choice to play Odysseus. But, this follows the Nolan trope. He likes to stick with a lot of actors that he's worked with on previous movies, and Matt Damon kind of seemed like the next one for the lead role. Similar with Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer. He was a background and supporting actor for a while. He finally decided to give him a lead role in Oppenheimer. You could argue the same with Matt Damon. He felt it was time for him to take the lead role. He felt it would be here with Odysseus. But I really did buy into Matt Damon as Odysseus. I really feel like this is his best performance I've seen him give since probably The Martian, because I completely bought into, in him, what I always did see Odysseus as. This great king, this incredibly smart warrior, this great leader among his men trying to help them all survive, and someone who is incredibly determined. The amount of obstacles and the things he encounters on this journey home, it would break anyone, but he is so determined to go home to his wife and his son. And I completely bought that in Matt Damon's performance. He clocked into work, and I appreciate him for doing that. Also, another big standout for me in this movie, Anne Hathaway as Penelope. This is probably the best performance and my favorite performance I have seen her give. She is great in this movie. Like, I feel like if we're gonna talk about Oscar-worthy performances for anyone, if I could only pick one person to receive one. Now, granted, I think a few people in this movie should get one, but if I could only pick one to really get recognition, it would be her. Because with Anne Hathaway, you very easily buy into Penelope as the most beautiful woman in Ithaca, as the queen of Ithaca. But in her performance, she completely sells what Penelope is. She is loyal, she is hopeful, she's completely devoted to her husband, all these men in her house, and it sickens her. She wants her husband home so she can be rid of this mess. And you see in her a woman who is struggling. Like, she's missing him so much. She is so alone. She just, you know, there's opportunities for her to remarry, but she doesn't want to do that. She wants him back. Like, she delivers some really powerful, heartbreaking moments in this movie that just make you feel terrible for her. So yeah, hats off to Anne Hathaway for pulling that off. I just thought Tom Holland was great in this movie as Telemachus. Now, is this his best role? His best performance, I would say? Probably, but I don't think it's getting enough recognition because, sadly for him, he's in a movie with so many big-time A-list actors who all just knock it out of the park. I feel like his performance is being, you know, rolled over a little bit. But I like seeing him in this more serious role. I like seeing him as a son who's determined to find his father, who's determined to know what happened to him, who, again, like his mom, is holding on to so much hope that he's gonna come back, but it's hard for him with all the years that go by and all the time that's being drawn out. You have to wonder to yourself, it's like, is he gonna return? And that's what I love seeing in Telemachus's determination to try to find that out for himself. And yeah, Robert Pattinson in this movie, who plays, you could argue, the main suitor in this movie. Absolutely despicable human being. I mean, this guy, he's a total asshole. He's a piece of shit. He's selfish. He will do whatever he can to break the hope in Penelope and break the hope in Telemachus. He just wants this kingdom for himself. He wants to seize power. Like, from the minute he is on screen, you want to kick this dude in the nuts. That's how much you hate him. So yeah, Robert Pattinson, I mean, you've crushed it as one villain. Excited to see what you do in Doom Part 3, but it's anything like this, can't wait for it. Let's delve into some of the controversy now. Okay, so Lupita Nyong'o cast as Helen of Troy, and Elliot Page as, not Achilles, thank God, as Sinon. I will say this, I appreciate these characters for what they provided to the story, because things actually make sense to why the characters are the way they are for the sake of the story without spoiling anything. But I'm also going to go a little further into this. Their characters have, like, I don't know, 5 minutes of screen time total in what is a 3-hour long movie. So it's not like they play significant roles in this movie. I would more so say it's the essence of the characters and the overall big picture these characters maybe brought to the story that's more important to the Odyssey rather than the characters themselves, if that makes sense. Shifting to the dialogue of this movie, that is in the beginning where maybe the movie does feel a little bit odd in the sense that it's the Odyssey and, you know, they're using a lot of modern language, but I was able to roll with it. You know what it was for me? It was kind of like when you hear Bane's voice in The Dark Knight Rises for the first time, and you hear it and you're kind of like, alright, it'll take me a moment to adjust to this and that'll be fine. For me, it was the same with the dialogue. Because despite them using modern language, they were still able to have some really riveting, intense, passionate moments of dialogue between characters. Like, it's not like characters start talking to each other and then I'm just taken out of the movie. Not at all the case. It only sucked me more into it. Because Christopher Nolan has a way of making some really intimate, serious, important conversations and great moments of dialogue between characters regarding hope and family and the gods and this journey. It really is some captivating stuff. And that is where Christopher Nolan's direction really just needs to be given credit here. He sucks you into this world and you really do feel like you're on this journey. Because what I love with Christopher Nolan, I mean, he already established this in Oppenheimer when he said there was no CGI in that movie. He continues that trend a little bit here in the Odyssey. He said there's practically no CGI in this movie. A lot of stuff is, once again, very practical. And that was awesome because in this day and age where everything is CGI to shit, you really do long for something that feels more real, that feels like you're in this world. This movie does that. Like when you see characters on this big giant ship in the middle of the ocean, it's because they're on a big giant ship in the middle of the ocean. When you see this amazing backdrop of cliffs or sunsets or an island, it's because it's all real. Like everything feels like it's on such a grand scale. And for a movie like The Odyssey, you need something like that. You need to feel like something you've never experienced before. Christopher Nolan was able to do that by being able to give us something that felt so real at the same time. So much so that there are legit moments in this movie. I don't know how he pulled some of this off, but the movie actually legitimately feels unsettling in moments. Like there are moments like the characters are on the sea and it's a torrential storm outside and the thunder and the lightning. It almost, you feel like you're gonna have a seizure. The thunder is so freaking loud. It's just like, you feel the sense of hopelessness that the characters feel in this moment. Because yeah, if you're in the middle of the ocean and you hear that and you see all this rain, the first thing you're thinking is death. But beyond that, what he's been able to do with practical effects in this movie is really remarkable. There is a scene, it's the scene with the Cyclops. If you know the story of the Odyssey, you know what I'm talking about. That is legitimately some nightmare fuel shit. Again, the fact that the Cyclops itself was namely practical effects, that thing felt real, it felt alive, and it is scary. Like when that thing let out its yell or roar or whatever the fuck that sound was, I mean, I was shaking. Like I legit thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, this had to have been how our parents felt seeing the T-Rex and hearing that thing roar for the first time in 1993. When a movie can give me the kind of feelings you get from seeing Jurassic Park for the first time, you know you're getting brownie points from me. There's another scene in this movie that revolves on the character Cersei and pigs. And some straight up body horror shit that is never going to leave my head ever. Because again, it feels real, it feels disgusting, it's incredibly disturbing to see, but in the best way. Like Christopher Nolan has said for a while that he would love to direct a horror movie one day. After watching The Odyssey, I have no doubt he'll kill it at that. Now, one of the things that people might worry about with this movie is, does the movie feel too long? Like it's a 3-hour long movie. Here's the thing, I think it completely earns its runtime. There's never any slow, boring, dull moments in this movie. I mean, it needs to be a long story. The Odyssey is a massive story. It's a 20-year journey that you're on with Odysseus this whole time. If this movie was only 2 hours long, it'd feel too short. There's a lot of ground that needs to be covered here. But the way Nolan is able to execute the storytelling and the way he's able to, you know, orchestrate this whole journey, it feels like an earned runtime. And because this movie just grabs you by its claws and just sucks you right in, like you're there, you're on the journey. Like I've been sucked into a world like this, and I'm trying to remember like other movies that really were able to do that. Like long involved movies. You know what? It kind of felt like Lord of the Rings. Like the Lord of the Rings movies, each of them individually are long, but they suck you into the world and they bring you on this adventure. It doesn't matter. You feel just so attached to it. That's just it. The movie just has you so attached to the world and the story and the characters. I was so locked into this movie. It was a 3-hour movie that felt like 2. Like when you can feel an hour shorter than your actual runtime, that's when you know you did something right. And I gotta tell you, the last hour or maybe 45 minutes of The Odyssey, it's easily some of the most rewarding of final acts we've ever gotten in a Christopher Nolan movie. Like that final act, it hits you in all of the feels, it makes you emotional, you feel such a level of satisfaction that you need from a movie like this, because this journey has been so huge and so involved. You know, you need to feel rewarded. Again, it's because you feel like you're on this journey with Odysseus. You want to feel like this journey meant something. And by the end, it absolutely does. You know, you feel emotionally worn down. You feel emotionally exhausted because you've gone through so much with Odysseus along the way. You just want to see this guy make it. You want to see exactly what you're hoping for. And Christopher Nolan, he's able to deliver exactly what you want, but also give you more of what you didn't expect, or things that you didn't think maybe you'd be feeling by the end. And by the end, you look back on it, and I shit you not when I say this, The Odyssey is one of the most rewarding movies, and especially theatrical experiences, I've maybe ever had. So all in all, yeah, the Odyssey was epic. Not just as the genre of movies that it does belong to, it legitimately is epic. That's the perfect word for it. The entire cast across the board, they do a great job here. So many of them just brought the characters that I remembered learning about and reading about. They brought them to life as well as they could have. The movie looks amazing. It's shot so well. You really just, the way Nolan is able to design his set and get these shots and pick his locations, like, you really do feel like you are somewhere else in the world entirely. You feel like you are in the old times. It didn't feel fake. It didn't feel like I was watching a movie. It felt like I was on an adventure. I was in the world. The story is phenomenal. The journey, it's long, it's exhausting, but in the best ways possible. And by the end, it is so satisfying. This movie is loud. It is bombastic with its sound, but it hits you where you live. It drives a knife into you, let me tell you that right now. It's haunting, it's tragic, it's beautiful, it's heartwarming, it's heartbreaking. Amazing score, by the way, by Ludwig Göransson. Absolutely knocks it out of the park with the Odyssey. And in the end, this is without question my favorite movie of the year thus far. And as far as where it ranks among Nolan movies for me, it's a top 3 Christopher Nolan movie. I am giving the Odyssey a perfect 10 out of 10, which makes this movie all-time greatness. Telling you, if you do not see this movie in theaters, you are doing yourself such a massive disservice. I saw this movie in IMAX. It was fantastic. I finally booked tickets to see it in IMAX 70mm in like the one theater that's drivable from me that plays that format. I'll see that in a couple weeks. Cannot wait for that. And yeah, this is the type of thing we go to the movies for. This is the kind of movie that makes you feel something. And you can't say that for much. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. And as always, don't forget to make comments, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.